What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. And today we're going to be comparing two esports box club gameplays, the one that we got in February and the one that we got in April. So we had this amazing gameplay drop in February, the one on screen right now, where we got to see things we'd never seen before, you know, obviously some characters fighters we'd never seen before, plant, things like that. And it was received incredibly well from the community. Of course, it's still, all the gameplay we're seeing is still that alpha early build, but this was incredibly well received, and this was posted on the ESBC channel as a development update. And then we got this new gameplay in April, so a few days ago, and this wasn't on the ESBC channel. This was the build that we played, so gameplay showing, hey guys, this is the build that the content creators played. And while it was still awesome, this has been received quite poorly in comparison to the February gameplay. Now, I wanted to compare the two because I just want to show you guys this comment. Now, I get a lot of comments like this, but this is just something, this is a comment I want to show you guys in particular. Now, it says here, this is completely different to what we've seen before. They look more computer than in previous videos that look, in brackets, that look real. There's too much shine on the punches, looks trash. Why is everyone on their knees, sucking them off? I'm from Sheffield, whatever. Two different games, in my opinion. We've been conned. Well, I haven't, but the streamers have. It's night and day to what we've been shown. Now, I want to talk about this because it is the same gameplay. I want to show the difference. We've had things like the hooks look different, the gameplay looks different, and my biggest point has been it's how it's being played, and people are saying that the game has dropped in quality. So I want to compare a few clips for you guys so we can talk about it here. I'm not going to be talking the whole way through every single clip. I'm just going to be showing you guys and giving you some context behind each and every clip that we see. Now, the first clip I want to show you guys is from February. This is between Joe Lewis and Rocky Marciano, where they were showing the inside fighting for the first time ever. And now this clip is, yet again, Rocky Marciano and Joe Lewis in April. Relative inside fighting, throwing a lot of hooks, throwing a lot of uppercuts. And the next clip here is a side-by-side. As we see on the left is the April and on the right is the February. I want you guys to have a real close look at these side-by-side animations, as we have seen a lot of complaints that, you know, oh, the animations look so awful compared to the last gameplay that we saw. And the next clip that I want to share is the Carl Froch and Caleb Plant gameplay from February. This showed lots of moving and Plant actually using his range. This next clip here is from April, yet again, Caleb Plant and Carl Froch fighting again. The biggest difference we see right away is the camera angle, completely different camera angle this time as opposed to the February gameplay. Now I just want to show you this side by side from April and February. I've obviously listed it as they're in the same venue in the same fight, so it is hard to tell the difference. But now this is the one time I want to give my opinion. Look at this gameplay side by side and tell me there is a huge difference that's so bad that people are saying that it's awful in comparison to the last gameplay that we saw. Now we had some complaints about the hooks in the April gameplay that us creators got given, but we heard very little about that in the February gameplay because it was so well received. Now the question is, are the hooks the same? Are they slower? So I want to show you guys this lead hook from Carl Froch in the new gameplay as well as the older gameplay, as well. I'm going to slow it down at 50% and 25% because I honestly believe that we're at the point now where, because of how they fought and made it look arcadey, I think people are nitpicking because they want to find a reason not to like it. Because the new April gameplay wasn't played like a boxing game, it was played like an arcade game, as opposed to the February gameplay was played very much like a boxing match as opposed to an arcade game. So now let's look at these lead hooks at different speeds. The first clip you'll see will always be from the newer gameplay and the second clip will be from the older February gameplay. Now I'm going to show them side by side at 3 different speeds like I mentioned, standard, 50 and 25%. And I want you guys to really be unbiased here and tell me there is a difference in the speed and the animation of these hooks. Now on this final one, I'm going to show it a few more times at the slower speed. You have to ignore the second hook that follows from Carl Froch because he ends up throwing a combination of hooks because the April gameplay was very hook spammy. If we just focus on that lead hook here, they land at the same time, the speed is the same, even slowing down both at 20%, even at the regular speed, the hooks are the same. Now the next thing we heard was complaining about the lack of turning in the hip in the April gameplay. That was one thing that suddenly people were blowing up about, that there's lack of turning in the hip. But yet again, there was very little complaining about that back in the February gameplay. Now we see in this sequence, while it appears that Ben is moving backwards, we do see some sort of rotation in the hip, especially on the second straight. Now I'm going to really slow down that second straight for you guys so you can see what appears to be quite a rotating hip from Conor Ben here. However, I think this is what people mean. As we see here with Gatty, there is very little hip rotation when throwing that straight shot. But it isn't like he's just standing and throwing the shot out. There is still a slight twist of the knee, of the ankle, and the hip is still coming forward. It's just not as pronounced as an actual real life straight being thrown by a top level professional, which of course Gatty was a top level professional. However, in this older February gameplay, we don't see much hip rotation here either, except for the time when Plant throws more of a power straight. We see that Carl Froch throws his straight, and there is about the same amount of hip rotation as in the April gameplay, except for when Plant throws his power straight, where we see more of that rotation. Now I'm going to show Conor Ben's 1-2 and Carl Froch's 1-2 side by side in 3 different speeds, regular, 50 and 25%. Now, I want to hear your guys' thoughts, because this whole thing of this new gameplay looks absolutely shocking compared to the old gameplay. Just doesn't sit right with me, because it is the same gameplay. You could argue, yes, maybe the models are a bit shinier in this one, which I will understand, but I think the biggest issue that we're facing here that people aren't quite getting is that the game wasn't played like a true boxing game. It was played like a hook uppercut spammer's wet dream. It was just, it was incredible. It was a bad showcase for the game, and I'll be 100% honest there. I think it definitely was, and I think that's definitely put a lot of people off. But trust me, if they had played it properly and they had shown what happens if you tried to spam those hooks and how quickly you can be punished, I think people would have a different idea. But I think because of so much that's happening, so many hooks being thrown like crazy, people are looking at things and starting to nitpick. Those are my opinions. I didn't want to give too many of my opinions throughout this gameplay. I wanted you guys to have your own thoughts and look yourselves. But I'll be generally curious to see if people can sit here and look at these gameplays side by side, one after the other, and say, yeah, they've definitely gone downhill. Looking at it side by side, what are your guys' thoughts? And do you think that, right, we're at the point now where people are nitpicking because some people don't want to like it? Because that's kind of the vibe I'm getting lately, is people don't want, and which I think is weird, people don't want a new boxing game. I think it's just bizarre. But I will stand by that the game was played in this April gameplay poorly. It was a bad showcase for ESBC, and it's not something they should put out again. They need to make sure that if they're going to use these fighters and show these fighters, they need to fight how they would fight in real life. You cannot use Plant on the inside. You just can't. Plant is a great fighter. He's got an incredible jab, and we saw very little of that in this new gameplay. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on the differences. And like I said, it's relatively the same build, guys. There's been a few updates in comparison, but it's only literally a month and a half difference, if that, because the February gameplay dropped late February, and this one was the build we played, which was March. So you could even argue it was a month difference in builds. So I'm curious to hear what people think now that you've seen it side by side, one after the other, if you're still die on this thing of the game looks shocking, that the punches look bad now, the footwork looks bad, the game looks awful in comparison. Because I don't think that's the case. I think people are looking for something to complain about. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget, as always, to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.